congressional Republicans, we can toss the tweet up on screen, really have nothing to say about this except one 3-tweet thread and a strongly worded letter, I guess old habits die hard, from the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. The chairman of it, I want to read you a quote. It's not all that fire-breathing. Quote, "The U.S. must lead the world in AI technology, but we must do it securely. The CCP is actively seeking indirect access to our top tech." Okay, I agree with that. "Deals like this require scrutiny and verifiable guardrails. We raised concerns about G42 last year," that's the Emirati firm, "for this very reason, and we need safeguards in place before more agreements move forward." Now, if only I knew of people or a little body called the United States Congress that I don't know also right now happens to be negotiating stuff that directly interplays with all of this. If only Chairman Molinar, if you, I don't know, looked in the mirror. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting pretty sick and tired of the, shall we say, pandemic of passive voice with the Republican Party. It seems to plague them. Where all they can do is tweet about these problems and put out strongly worded letters and statements. Call a frickin' hearing. No, are you guys too busy canceling votes on codifying the Doge cuts or canceling the hearings on the radical judges? Maybe that's what's taking up all your time, right? And you certainly can't say that it's because you've been sending, a bunch of legislation over President Trump to sign into law, because if I have my facts straight, you guys have sent fewer bills to President Trump than any Congress over the last 70 years. Now, you know, we always bring the receipts, shall we say, and I want to bring a very specific receipt in terms of this Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, which, as far as I'm concerned, was set up by Mike Gallagher only so he could, use it as a stepping stone to go work at Palantir. That doesn't quite reek of understanding the threat of the Chinese Communist Party. He bailed out. He said, "I'll go take my nice check." So now the new chairman and a bunch of no-name backbenchers who are on this committee, though let's make one of them famous right now, Darren LaHood of Illinois. So get this straight. The guy who is sitting on this committee that thinks that it's okay to just put out tweets to counter the Chinese Communist Party and a bunch of weak, strongly worded letters that my reporting at 19 was probably more forceful than. Well, this guy actually met with various Chinese Communist Party influence groups, particularly in 2022. You guys have heard, I'm sure, about the Chinese Communist Party trying to expand control over the United States by buying up farmland. And one of the primary conduits through which they've done this is a group called the U.S.-China Heartland Association, in conjunction with two United Front Work Department groups known as the China-United States Exchange Foundation and the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries. Quite a mouthful. Quite innocuous. Nothing could be further from the truth. These are hardcore Marxist organizations that work using a multi-billion-dollar budget from Beijing to co-opt, subvert, neutralize Western politicians and Western elites to peddle the line of Beijing. So Congressman LaHood, who's supposed to be so tough on the Chinese Communist Party, he actually spoke at one of their events in 2022, helping the Chinese Communist Party and their assets strategize how they could better infiltrate American farmland, because maybe we could find some ways to collaborate. I don't know about you, but collaboration is probably one of those words like comprehensive immigration reform, unity, Ukraine aid, where basically anytime I hear it, especially in the context of the Chinese Communist Party, I think that's called a hard no. And this group is also intricately linked with Bill Gates. So these are the people who are going to be so tough on the Chinese Communist Party. Busy helping them strategize how to buy your farmland. Right? It's the art of the deal. That's President Trump and hardliners like Peter Navarro, formerly Lighthizer, now Jameson Greer, versus the art of war. And incumbent with that is the intense and elaborate compromise of elites like Congressman Darren LaHood, who, when we actually have a national security threat, where I actually think some congressional pushback, probing, if not outright committee hearings, would be very, very justified in the case of getting ready to essentially turn over hundreds of thousands of highly sensitive chips just because David Sachs and a couple of tech bros want to make a quick buck. Where are they? I guess Darren's too busy helping lecture the Chinese Communist Party how they can buy up that plot of land next to your house so they can, I don't know, better grow crops. That's the euphemistic spin in the name of collaboration. Yet where has collaboration gotten us? What is it, 145% tariffs? Only because they totally reneged on the phase 1 deal that was already a skinny deal because they refused to do anything actually substantive because they wouldn't sign and agree that they wouldn't stop stealing intellectual property, devaluing the dollar, using pseudo-dormant state-owned enterprises. I mean, good on them, I guess. Compromise the guy who's serving on the committee to take you on. You get to play judge, jury, and executioner. And I guess speaking of judges, I would say I'm pretty curious why all of these judges, whose spouses oftentimes somehow conveniently end up on the payroll of the Chinese Communist Party too, seem to be neutering and nullifying President Trump's agenda too. We've got a lot to get to, whether it's the copyright law. We're going to drill down on this with an AI